community for several weeks. And it wasn't until Saturday or Sunday that we really had enough tests to be testing people. And so there's a lot of coronavirus in our community right now. And again, I don't want people to feel panic about this. Young people, your bodies are very good at fighting this off, but there's a lot of it in our community. And I think actually that's the perfect way for us to talk about social distancing. So, some people might have seen the term flatten the curve. And so this goes back to what you've learned in some of your math classes. And so if I were to have coronavirus, I would put at risk every person I came into touch with, every person I was closer than 6 feet to would have a risk of getting sick. So let's say I saw 10 people today. I put 10 people at risk of getting sick. But then the next day, those 10 people, let's say they all see 10 people, they're at risk of getting sick too, and at risk of getting all their people sick. And so what that means is very, very quickly, a lot of people can get sick. So this blue curve is showing you that there's what we call exponential growth. Sickness can spread really, 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 really fast. And I'll talk in a couple minutes about why that's a problem. But what we see is it can spread really, really, really fast. And the thing is, oh, it's already right here. The thing is, so when people get sick, 80% of them, 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5, it's just like getting the flu. Feeling crummy, maybe not even feeling that bad at all, and then they get better. But 20% of those people, 20 out of every 100 or 1 out of every 5 people may need to go to the hospital. And of those, about 5% total of people, so 1 in 20 people who gets coronavirus may need really intensive care in the hospital. And the reason that we're worried about this is this disease is spreading really quickly, and we only have so many doctors, and we only have so many hospital beds. And so because of that, we need to slow down this virus. We need to make it so that people aren't getting sick like wildfire. We need to slow it down so that we have enough doctors and we have enough equipment and we have enough hospital beds for the people who get really sick. And so the idea behind all this social distancing and sheltering in place and staying in our homes and only doing essential errands is to make sure that we're exposing as few people as possible so we're not overwhelming the medical system. And so what I'm going to try to do, I know Miss Kelly showed this to the 6th grade, but I want to make sure 7th and 8th grade see it too. I'm going to show you a simulation from the Washington Post. So give me just a second while I mix up the screen share. Okay, let me try this one. Now I just have to find the window that I opened for you. Okay, it's this one. So, and each of you can go on this and play yourself with it if you like. This is the Washington Post, which is a newspaper out of Washington, D.C., and they made what they call the coronavirus simulator, and it shows how we can help society by isolating ourselves. So here's the example of what exponential looks like. So, in the beginning we had very few cases, and now we see it's increasing really quickly because we've been in touch with each other. And this is showing you, these orange dots are showing you that each person who can get infected can infect another person. And that's why we need space and we need to be away from each other. So this simulation shows if we were in a town with 200 people and nobody quarantined, nobody stayed home when they were sick, here's what would happen. Watch. So the orange are the people who are sick, And you can see very quickly lots of people get sick. And then the pink ones are recovering. And so you can see what happens is if nobody stays at home and no one quarantines, if we were to keep going to school right now, lots of people would get sick very quickly. This one shows, imagine what would happen if we are doing what we do right now. So everybody is staying at home. You can see all the people who are infected are staying at home, and it's very slowly that it gets to other people. Not nearly as fast as if everybody's interacting with each other. And so when you look at this orange curve of sick people, it doesn't rise as quickly. And the reason that that's so important is it gives our hospitals and our doctors enough time and enough space, enough hospital beds to treat people who are sick. It prevents it from getting totally overwhelmed. So that's the big idea with this shelter in place. The idea is if we are not around each other as much, we're going to help this disease from spreading so quickly. So I'm going to show you one more slide. Let me get back to my PowerPoint. And I'm going to show you what happened in Italy, in a town where they did what the US did. So Italy's been struck really, really hard by the disease. Italy has an elderly population, and their hospital systems have gotten really overwhelmed. And so this is Lodi, Italy. And what they did was they practiced social isolation, and they practiced it really well. And so because of that, what you can see is they kept under control the number of people who got sick. This is Bergamo. This is a different part of Italy who started social isolation much later. And you can see they had this exponential growth. They had a lot of people get sick really fast. And even though they eventually put measures into place, the sooner the better. The sooner we all practice really good social isolation, or social distancing, excuse me, the better the chance we have of keeping this from getting out of control. So I'm going to pause, and I want to see if there's any questions.
Dr. Frank, Miss Kelly.
Yep. Hi, Miss Kelly.
Hi. For social distancing, I feel like there might be some confusion about like going to the store or going for a walk. Do you have recommendations about like should I go walk the lake or should I go to the store or?
Yeah. So, in an ideal world, we would stay in our homes and all the things we would need would get delivered. But we know that's not happening right now. And so right now, we're allowed to do essential, necessary things. So you can go to the grocery store to get food. You can go to the pharmacy to get medicine. You can go to the doctor if you need to, but please call the doctor unless you like can't breathe or are really, 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 really sick. Please call your doctor before going because it's often they have a different set of advice for what you should do. In terms of going outside and walking, so it's okay to go walk by yourself or 6 feet away from someone else. But it's not okay to be walking in groups because it's putting people in contact with each other and can spread the disease. And honestly, there's probably many of us who have this and don't know we have this and aren't having symptoms. And we personally are not going to be in danger from this, but we're at risk of sharing it with other people. If you are going somewhere with someone else, it should be somebody that you already live with, and you should still try to be 6 feet apart. And that's really serious, and it really made me sad and hurt yesterday when I looked on the street that I live on, which is a main street, and there were lots of people walking, and there were groups of four standing and talking, or there were, like 8 people in the bakery next to where I live. And that makes me really worried because that's not social distancing. If you need to go to the grocery store and you have a mask, do wear it.
Thank you.
Any other questions about social distancing? I know it's kind of a confusing idea and we're not used to it.
This is Dominguez again. So many of our students and families, like, we're living in these spaces together. For social distancing, even when we're in our homes, does that mean that we should be apart from each other?
So I would say it depends. So if someone is having sick symptoms, yes, definitely. If someone is elderly, and I would call that over 50 or 60, even though those aren't really elderly, they're elderly for the purposes of this disease, yes, absolutely. Is it okay for our 14-year-old students to be taking care of their 3-year-old siblings? Yes.
Thank you, you're the best.
Are there other questions about social distancing? Okay, I'm going to move on to talking about the best things we can do to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. So one of the very best things you can do is wash your hands, especially if you cough, especially before you eat, especially if your hands have been anywhere near your face. So there's 2 ways to clean your hands. If you have hand sanitizer, you want to use a nickel-sized drop. More is not better. More is not helpful. A nickel is plenty. And what you want to do is rub on both sides of your hands, so the palms of your hands and the backs of your hands. You want to rub between your fingers, and you especially want to rub under your nails, because your nails are a place where a lot of germs can hide. This is a really, really good time to have short nails. If you have long, like acrylic nails, or you just keep your nails long, please cut them. That can really reduce your risk of harboring bacteria and viruses under there. You want to spend about 20 seconds rubbing your hands. That's the length of singing happy birthday twice. Second, your hands aren't clean until they're dry. So if you put sanitizer on, let them dry all the way before you touch something else. You're going to hear me cough. It's an allergy cough. I have mucus in the back of the throat. I'm going to cough right now, and I don't want you to worry, okay? All right. Let's talk about washing with soap and water. So always you can wash with soap and water. That's always a good choice. Only use hand sanitizer if there's no obvious dirt on your hands. If you have Cheetos dust or chocolate slivers, do soap and water. If your hands, when you look at them, don't have anything in them, then it's okay to use hand sanitizer. So for hand washing, it's the same idea. You're going to get your hands wet. You're going to put soap on it. More is not necessarily better. Nickel-sized, quarter-sized is fine. You're going to rub your 2 hands together with your palms together. Then you're going to rub the backs of your hands, then between your fingers, then under your nails. And then when you turn off the sink, you want to, if you have some